Okay, what movie are you watching?
Quo Vadis.
Here, we're recording.
Okay.
You can hold that up to your mouth. You've worked with microphones.
Quo Vadis.
What movie is? Tell me about it.
Quo Vadis, MGM, I think. Robert Taylor.
Is it a
Finlay
Roman
Troy, I
flick?
can see here now. Yeah, it's one of those sword and sandal things. It's on TCM. It's on TCM, and they're doing a day of Deborah Carr
Okay.
movies.
What's the moral of the movie?
This one's a routine, Christians v. Nero's Rome, and it's a kind of romance across the divide. Robert Taylor's fallen in love with Deborah Carr, who's a Christian, and it's all kind of complicated.
Yeah,
but that's where the intrigue lies. But terrific sets. You just missed the Rome burning while Peter Ustinov as Nero plucked at a lyre and composed some poetry concerning this great occasion of Rome being entirely ablaze.
nice, good occasion.
You
remember a couple years ago when I took you to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery? Remember that? We saw Mel Blanc's grave.
That's
the
right.
Ramones, Johnny Ramones.
Well said, and Cecil B. Cecil.
That's where I was going. Cecil B. DeMille.
Cecil B. DeMille, yeah. He's the guy that invented these.
He burned Rome a few times, didn't he?
More than once. these gigantic epics. But this is one of those that was made just after the war. I suspect. Cinecittà. There became a craze for it. It's all in a great book by Sean Levy, La Dolce Vita Confidential, and about the beginnings of the paparazzi and Cinecittà being the late Benito Mussolini's last gift.
And were you telling me last night that the Holiday in Rome, that was when paparazzi began?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah.
And tell me that story.
Well, because all the Hollywood screen stars and all the studios in the States became kind of unaffordable or something. I don't know, some financial reason. Plus, the ascension of TV. The big studios were pushed for cash, and so they moved the operations to a lot of them. A lot of the time, moved their operations to Cinecittà, the studios bequeathed by, as I say, the late Benito Mussolini.
You were telling me
and
that
it was a kind of state of the art. It was real state of the art stuff. And purpose built for making movies and other reasons.
And Mussolini
it was a lot cheaper. So you got all these screen stars, Tom, all the household names, Charlton Heston, people like this, and they would all think, out of sight, out of mind.
Right, they're in Italy. We can do whatever we want.
Whatever we like. Sodom and Gomorrah. And but this one guy, I can't remember the guy's name. I've read the book, and I'll have to refer back to it. But for now, the guy that invented the paparazzi, the Italians were so broke after the war that people were pawning. There were socks in pawn shops.
Socks. Wow, how much could you get for a pair of socks?
Who knows? Oh. That's how come that song. That lazy Mary better get up. She answered back, I am not able. Lazy Mary, you better get up. We need the sheets for the table.
Damn it.
The tablecloth would double as bed sheets.
Oh, wow.
They were really, everybody was broke. So there were all these kind of broke Italian multitudes. So why not make these biblical, epics,
right,
that require multitudes,
of poor-looking people,
forest of people. And they would work for in the States. They couldn't afford to do that. They'd have to pay everybody some sort of scale. But over in Italy, they were people would do it for 3 meals a day, and that's how come they specialised at that. I think this was the one that got the ball rolling, Quo Vadis. But after that, you got anything to do with the ancient world. It became a real craze for it. And they found out about the cheapness and the quality of the equipment. I think it was Roman Holiday that alerted them to. But they used to call it Hollywood on the Tiber. So this guy buys a camera, snapping all these household names when they're, with women who aren't their wife, drunk. And he was snapping them all. And that's and a whole bunch of magazines kind of sprung up on the strength of these scurrilous photographs. And that's the paparazzi. That's what they call them, the paparazzi. I think it means a bothersome fly. Or something.
Didn't that term come from a Fellini film? Yeah. Was it La Dolce Vita?
He kind of showcased that sort of
aggressive photographers.
He showcased that the main character, played by Marcello Mastroianni, is a kind of lounge lizard, a professional, a gossip columnist or something. I think it owes a lot to that. Owes a lot to Tony Curtis in The Sweet Smell of Success. Sidney Falco.
That was great. Who was
he plays a vapid gossip. He picks up dirt on people, doesn't he, and passes it on to Burt Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster, that's what he's such a douche in that flick.
J.J. Hunsaker. Yeah.
Well,
fabulous movies. These are great movies, and we've covered how many now. But yeah, anyway, long story short story long. They started specialising in sword-and-sandal pictures, which didn't involve much in the way of costumes, but they were really well done and they looked lavish. They looked lavish. You probably remember. Steve Reeves, Mr. Universe, he made a couple of movies for Cinecittà, and they were very successful. Hercules Unchained being probably the most well-known. You heard of that?
I think that movie inspired Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, it would do, yeah.
I only know that movie from the Schwarzenegger documentary.
Steve Reeves.
Yeah.
And they were all dubbed into English, they had been made in Italian.
What lessons can we learn from ancient Rome and the ancient world?
Pardon?
What lessons can we learn from ancient Rome?
We're lucky to live in the time we do. I wouldn't recommend it.
Especially if you're a Christian.
If you didn't have any money. Unless you were top dog. And even then, even then you're likely to get assassinated.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be any happy medium there, from what I can gather. The place in flux.
So I'm talking to you. We're in your room at the Thompson Hotel, smack dab in the center of Hollywood. So how do you feel being in the heart of it?
Oh yeah, fabulous. Yeah, but really, all I've done is eat out and walk around. But that's great.
You told me
it's a town like no other. Every house is different. I love. I'm big on architecture at public level. It's always been a great interest of mine. And
what do you think of the Los Angeles architecture?
It's great around here. You couldn't generally. It's so. You can build whatever you like if you can afford it.
Yeah.
No, but in England, it would be, it wouldn't blend in with the neighbourhood, and all that shit. But here you can have like a Spanish ranch style next to a mock Tudor mansion.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to stop you. You got the money, you call the shots. I like that kind of thing, but you wouldn't be allowed to do. You'd have to get planning permission in. I'm sure you do here to an extent, but I bet it isn't as intensive as it would be in England.
What?
But I love looking at houses.
Yeah. I know you love like
There's lots of houses.
old American entertainment, and
Yeah, all of
American
that.
general.
Yeah.
So, like, what are
Psychogeography for me. You ever heard that term?
psychogeography?
You ever hear that term, I've always had I wonder what that place is like. I remember reading Raymond Chandler as a kid and thinking, and he describes houses. It was in that newfangled Spanish style everybody seems to be crazy about, because, I thought, wow, what must that, I'd never been to Spain, I was very impressionable when I read those books, Raymond Chandler. So it's kind of, I've often wondered, and then I found out that actual Hollywood was in Los Angeles, kind of. And I put the two together. I thought, wow, no wonder. It sounded like a magical place. And,
Wasn't he an alcoholic?
And it's never worn off.
Lived in
Was
Oregon?
he an alcoholic? I imagine so.
Yeah, I don't
Why
know.
wouldn't he be? What's so special about him?
So exactly. So what are some of the like Hollywood history things that turn you on?
Hollywood. Well, we had pre-TV. I went to the movies at least 4 times a week. Really, my dad was an engineer who worked on power stations, often in a town far away from where we lived, and so I was kind of my mum's movie date. Really, she didn't, she didn't want to go out as an unaccompanied woman, so I was a kind of chaperone, a movie date. So I had this arrangement where she'd go see one Western, but I had to sit through, 3 or 4, what they used to call actually women's pictures.
Wow.
But I didn't mind them because, they were American pictures, and you could get it was a look into the shop window of the United States, and because I'm talking about the mid-50s here, and in England, but you didn't get clothes like that. We used to go and see a lot of Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin pictures.
Wow,
they were great. I loved them as a kid.
Did you laugh?
Frank Tashlin.
You thought?
Yeah, well, we got the comic books before I even saw them on the movies. There was a Jerry Lewis comic book.
Yeah.
Which I used to get. So, it was. I love that guy. I love them guys.
You gave me your autobiography. And it's beautiful. When I came to your house in 2019, you were writing your autobiography. And in your big living room table, the big dining table, you had all your notes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so it was so great. You were, to see the writer's process, but like being your friend from seeing it, then get published. You gave me the book. I read it. And I remember you're telling me the story about going to the movies with your mom. And I remember the picture in it of you had a movie theater, like basically across the street from where you grew up.
We had 8 movie theaters within walking distance, and there was one right diagonally across the crossroad, the intersection. The first thing you saw when you looked out of our window was we lived in apartments when I was a child, so the first thing you saw when you looked out of the apartment window was the Rialto.
That was it, yeah.
A deluxe super cinema.
It's a great.
Their words, not mine.
Yeah,
but it was deluxe. Yeah, it was real swish.
I loved your autobiography, and I should have brought it. There was one quote, one little paragraph you wrote about kind of how punk died, like how the aesthetic had been co-opted by all these corporate people, and then like when people tried to get political with it.
Yeah, when it got sort of meaningful.
That was it.
Beyond.
Yeah. Can you elaborate?
Well, the great thing about punk for those two years that it lasted was that it was always paradoxical in many ways, like the biggest insult you could hurl at a fellow punk was that he was a poser.
Yeah.
But you could have levelled it at anybody. That's all there was to it.
Yeah.
That's all there was. That and the music, the style of music. But it was very much a kind of, well, look, it came from the rag trade, really, I'm not talking about the CBGB's axis now. I'm talking about, you mean British punk, don't you? You mean the Sex Pistols, the Clash, and that. But, I suppose there is I just seen it as part of a tradition, the return to the core values of rock and roll. In fact, they used to do if they did covers, if they ever played covers, they would be faster than the original. So it only lasted 2 years really, but then it became sort of meaningful, and other things happened, and but that initial kind of. It was very competitive. Everybody dissed everybody else, like the rap world is now, like, everybody sucks but us.
What do you think of rap? Is there any rap people you like?
Yeah, I like plenty of them. Yeah. I wouldn't know. Yeah, I like...
Because, just for
like Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
He did an advert for Just Eat, a kind of food delivery firm in England. He did a series of ads, and he went right up in my estimation. He's really elegant.
In the United States, he did the Olympic coverage.
Yeah, I know he did. I seen him.
It was amazing.
I watched it in France.
He's like the new Morgan Freeman. He's Freeman. He's
born to do it.
The ubiquitous
he's
presence
a man of destiny. God. He's a man of destiny. I can tell that I came alive to it. I've always been impressed by his vocabulary.
Yeah.
And indeed his laconic delivery. For a rapper, he's quite laconic. He's not kind of in your face too much. He's kind of suggestive, stoner. I think he's a stoner. Correct me if I'm incorrect.
Who, Snoop?
Snoop.
He's a stoner?
Oh,
yeah. He's a stoner.
He's a stoner, isn't
he? Doper. Yeah, he's a stoner.
Yeah.
But for the rhyming qualities alone.
He's good at that. But he was, these ads for, didn't you get them out here? No, you didn't. There's no such firm. But in England, we got this firm, Just Eat. They're very big on they deliver, food deliver, ready meals delivered, whatever. And guys on bikes. And Just Eat, it's called. And Snoop did a whole campaign for them. In one part, he was dressed like sort of Regency. He had the ruffled shirt. Languid. See what I mean about languid? So there's a guy with some light and shade. But I like somebody in your face shit, I like Eminem. Fantastic. My daughter got me into him. She was big on him. She could speak along, she could shout along with those records and get all the words out. But he was great, or still is, I guess. He's still making records, right?
Yeah. He just put out a new one. Eminem did.
Marshall.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. Speaking of wordsmiths, Chris Christopherson died yesterday.
That's a shame.
That was a killer.
He was a kid. He was. That's terrible.
But it's interesting. I saw in the news a year ago, 2 years ago, his family, he put up for sale. They had like a ranch in like Mendocino County, like 2 hours north of San Francisco, on the ocean. And then it said he died at his family home in Maui, Hawaii. So the guy did okay for himself.
Yeah, but it seems very sudden if you like somebody. And, I was a big fan of his. I've seen every movie concerning Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
And he's the best Billy the Kid. Wouldn't you know it was a Sam Peckinpah movie? Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. He's the best Billy the Kid. There's one bit where he squints. He looks towards the sun and squints slightly. And he looks, and that's when he looks just like that picture that everybody knows of Billy the Kid. You know, the one with the rifle and the baggy pants.
Was it you? Was it you that was telling me that what was the war that started Billy the Kid's
career? His career.
Yeah, his career as a crime.
As a gunfighter.
What was the?
He was. It was all over a general store. You know, selling tools, dry goods, stuff like that. Lucrative store. But up until then, you know, and these ranchers, you know, they paid you with tokens that you could only spend at the company store. You know, that's what that Tennessee Ernie Ford record's all about. 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Yeah.
You know that one, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how it was in New Mexico at that time. The Lincoln, you're talking about the Lincoln County War.
That's it, Lincoln. You were telling me about that the other night.
Well, it was all.
It amazes me how you know these things.
Well, I was obsessed with the West.
And you know, Billy the Kid was born in New York City.
Yeah, he was a New Yorker. Yeah, Henry
Henry
McCarty was his real name.
What was his name?
Henry McCarty.
Well,
I guess his family were refugees from the potato famine over in Southern Ireland.
You'll like this.
I would imagine. I don't know that for sure.
My grandmother, my father's mother's maiden name is Vermillion. And one of my cousins did the family chart. And I had a cousin, apparently I'm related to Texas Jack Vermillion, he was at the gunfight at the OK Corral.
That's a great name.
But he was from Virginia, but he moved to Texas. So
it sounds better, definitely.
Than Virginia.
Texas Jack
Yeah.
Vermillion. That's a great man. That's a great name.
Yeah, and they turned the guy. I looked him up. He fought for the Confederacy in the Civil War, and it's interesting how, you know, modern perceptions. I was, my family, certainly we were all Union soldier people on the side of the right side. But,
yeah.
But I don't know.
History is a messy thing.
Yeah.
Being alive it's a messy business.
What other gunfighters? We were talking about Tombstone.
That was great. That's Val Kilmer's finest hour as Doc Holliday there.
Amen.
Yeah. So anyway, the Lincoln County War was all about a competitor moving in with a dry goods hardware store.
Well,
and this team called the Murphys. So they were all like Irish. Yeah, there was a lot of Irish and Scottish among them. And and they weren't having it. And it was them that shot John Chisholm, who was like Billy the Kid's mentor. You know, and he would put him on the straight and narrow on a horse ranch. He was a stock breeder who was trying to crossbreed Welsh Morgan horses from Wales.
And this is what
with Mustangs.
This is what turned Henry bad.
This is what turned Henry bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm upset. One of my historical obsessions is John Dillinger.
Oh, he was great. Yeah,
movie. He you know. He was the original Public Enemy #1.
Yeah, that's him.
So I think he was like 19, and it was like him and his buddy did a armed robbery of a store. I think his buddy beat up the clerk, or maybe they both did. Maybe they killed the guy. I don't know. But no, they didn't kill him because it was the judge gave him an overly harsh sentence.
That was it.
He just had robbed like a noble neighborhood store. And the judge gave him 10 years. So this is like whatever. You know, he's in jail like all during the Depression. But he goes in at 19 years old, comes out at 29. And he said when he went into that prison, his famous quote is, "When I get out of this jail, I'm going to be the meanest son of a bitch that this world has ever seen." Mm-hmm. And so he spent 10 years asking everybody about, you know, how they did robberies, schooling himself.
University of Crime.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, great movie. Warren Oates. Say No More. Warren Oates. You seen that one? Dillinger.
Oh yeah. I have the poster.
You want a popsicle?
Yeah.
If we hadn't have gone for that popsicle. At the Biograph Theatre.
Yeah. Did you get to see that when you were in Chicago?
Pardon?
Did you get to see the Biograph Theater in Chicago when you were there?
Is that where it was?
Yeah. They killed him in front of it.
I forgot that's where it was.
You know what's interesting? The lady in red.
Should have done that.
The lady in red who, I mean, it's just the front of an old theater, but it's cool to see where they gunned down Dillinger. So the lady in red set him up.
I can't believe I didn't make a pilgrimage there. But we weren't staying in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the next time you go, you need to do the architectural boat tour in Chicago. I think that's the coolest.
That would be great.
Because they got all the history of skyscrapers there.
But do you remember the wall from that was imported from Chicago to the Mob Museum?
Yeah, it's in the Mob Museum. We saw it.
The St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall.
Incredible. They moved it and reassembled it brick by brick.
Incredible.
So the lady in red who set up John Dillinger actually was wearing an orange dress, but the press said red because it sounded better.
More emotive.
But she was a Romanian prostitute who didn't have legit citizenship papers or a green card or whatever. And I think she was the madam of a whorehouse that Dillinger frequented, and they were kind of on and again, off again. So she made a deal with the feds that she would turn over Dillinger if they gave her some citizenship, like proper papers. Uh-huh. So she turns Dillinger in, and then they fucked her, ended up in deporting her. She never got... So, it's never good.
Not a happy ending.
You can't rat.
Not a happy ending. That's the trouble.
Snitches get deported back to Romania.
Gangster films are an exception for me, because normally, if I know and plus movies about Billy the Kid, I make an exception in their case, but normally, if I know somebody's going to die at the end, I don't want to know. I'm a happy ending guy.
Even with gangster flicks.
But you never get it with a gangster flick. That's it. That's why I make an exception for gangsters and Billy the Kid movies, because they got to pay the price for their ill deeds.
That's funny. I hate horror movies, but I'll watch anything Dracula related. I love Dracula,
I like Dracula
just because his clothes were cool. Black with the red lining?
If I ever have a nightmare about vampires, it's always Christopher Lee. I know a lot of other people have done a good job, but it's there. He's looming over me, in my nightmares.
Never George Hamilton?
Never George. He played it for laughs. I couldn't possibly take George Hamilton.
He did Evel Knievel too,
He did it?
Yeah.
No, I've got nothing against George
Hamilton was the first tanned Dracula.
He was great, but no, I'm not having a go. I mean, the guy was, the supremo of moochers. He got in everywhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he? He was in a couple of Joan Collins picks. Which ones was it? He's a big pal of Joan Collins, isn't he? No, I liked him. He was loose. My cousin Mary, when we were teenagers, my cousin Mary used to get a comic, aimed at teenage girls called The Boyfriend. And it would have, pen-ups of people, Billy Fury, English pop stars, pre-Beatle pop stars, Jess Conrad, Marty Wilde, Adam Faith, Joe Brown, and people like this. And kind of picture romance stories in them. And I've lost the thread myself here.
What do you think about...
Why did I bring that up, Boyfriend?
I don't know.
It was poignant or something.
We were talking about George Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. So they had these pin-up pics aimed at chicks, like real, 15-year-old chicks. Dreamboat pictures, you know, and somehow George Hamilton found his way in there. See what I mean? Moocher. A moocher. El Supremo of moochers.
Maybe just
You
had
know,
a
and I
great
always
publicist.
thought, what does this guy do? I never heard of him. I've heard of, why not Bobby V, you know, or, Dion. You know, why, who is this guy? George Hamilton. But he looked good in a 10x8.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was suave.
Good looking dude.
Suave. I guess that's how he got the job as in the spoof Dracula.
You told me
What was
the other
it
night-
called? It was called, what was it? Love at First Bite.
That was it. That was where he played Dracula.
Yeah.
The first tan Dracula.
Love at First Bite. Don't take it seriously, folks. I tell you, was good. Gary Oldman. You see that one?
Was that with the Francis Ford Coppola one?
Quite a recent one. Might have been. I can't remember who directed it, but he's got long hair in it. You know Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you see the one with Nicolas Cage that was out a couple years ago? That was pretty good.
No, I haven't seen that one. There was one with Louis Jourdain, the French heartthrob. That was BBC production from the 1970s. He was quite convincing. But it's always gonna be Christopher Lee, for me.
Yeah. Have you seen any? Have you seen any living stars popping around Hollywood? Hey, did you get to hang out with Dave Stewart?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You went over to his house.
Very nice guy. Very nice.
What
guy.
did he serve for tea?
Well, you know, it plucked out a few riffs, and I left him with a few lyrics.
Nice.
You can put them together anyhow you like these days, can't you? You know, it's the nature of the recording process. Whatever you want.
I love the Eurythmics.
So I'm leaving it to him and see what he does. Oh, I am overdue. I need to call him up, actually, because I didn't have my lyrics with me at the meeting. I thought we're just going to kind of, have a drink. But he's got a lot on his mind at the moment, so I didn't want to keep him too long. But he's a very nice guy. I have met him.
Well, I like how it seems like the stars always come out to see you when you're in Hollywood.
It's very
like
nice.
people come to pay homage to
Well,
the master.
they've all got they lead very busy life, but
True,
Yeah,
and it's and LA big shots don't go out that often. So
I've been well, that's nice. It's very nice that they do. Very nice that they do. I usually see Mike Rossi. When I'm here, but not this year. Maybe he's playing in some other town. He's a great guitar player. He used to play in a group called Slaughter and the Dogs. Slaughter and the Dogs. They were real coming at you punk rockers.
nice.
You know their stuff?
Mm-mm.
Real good.
Well, there was what last year when you were here. It was like three guys from a band came backstage.
Who was that? Yeah, Mike would be able to tell you.
It wasn't Madness, was it?
Well, I know those guys.
Yeah. One step beyond.
They're dead. Jazz smash.
So, what's your impression of America? Does it seem like a empire on the midst of collapse? What's your as an outsider? What are your observations?
I'm always gonna be out there, but I've no idea. No idea. What politically or things like
No,
that.
they're just
I
like
really don't know. It's sort of
Move the stick closer to
the way
you.
I see it is whoever gets in, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
But I mean, like just the country
tell you
itself.
what,
What do you, like? And you've been traveling around, so
But you know what? When you live in a democracy, it's it's only for 4 years, and then everything could change.
Yeah.
But what a luxury that is. I tell you what I found out living in England, over the years. Whoever gets in, it hasn't. Except for once, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Except for one time, whatever political party's in charge, it hasn't affected my life one bit. One bit. I tell you, and that's quite something. I think that's really a success story.
Says a lot for the system, right?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? You're not lurching from one thing to another all the goddamn time. You know, give it 5 years, see what happens. Or in your case, 4 here, isn't it? 4.
Yeah.
That's more democratic even still. 4. We should be 4. I think that's good, that. The shorter, the better. Then they got to keep focused.
Yeah.
But I look at politics on a very local level. But that's great, isn't it? That's a success story. If no matter who gets in, your life don't alter. Well, you can't buy that kind of. It's a mitzvah.
Security.
It's
yeah.
a mitzvah.
So what do you think about?
But the one time, here's the one time where it did affect my life.
Oh yeah.
It was when I was around 11, 12 years old. My dad got me a job as a bookies runner. And I tell you, I was still at school, but I was earning more than some people that say worked in a shop. Because, you know, if any of these people got lucky, it was good form to duke the runner.
Right.
Plus you got a bit of a payment for doing it in the first place. I was pissing pure gold as a 12-year-old. And then some do-gooder politician legalised off-track betting.
Oh no.
So that's the end of my career. So then turf accountants started springing up all over the high streets, and there was no room for a bookies runner no more.
Right.
So that was my life took a dive at that point. Dose of reality.
When you were flush, what were your 12-year-old whims? What were you throwing your cash
Well, I
on?
would go to the movies, and instead of buying a popsicle, I'd get a half-pound box of Black Magic, which is like chocolate candies. The kind of stuff a schoolboy ain't got no business eating. There's just too much, half a pound of it. And I'd go to, things like that. I'd treat people. I would buy my mother jewellery I would buy my mother jewellery that she would have to pretend to like, while still being, oh, how sweet, while still being suspicious of why I got all this money and, slightly disapproving.
Where did he get this money for a Chanel brooch?
She wasn't suspicious because she knew, but she wasn't entirely approved. She didn't really entirely approve of me being introduced to the world of degenerate gamblers at my age. But you know what? It was a
Were you ever a gambler or no?
It was a good lesson. Yes, I was for a while. Even now, I have the odd flutter up on the outcome of an equestrian event. And I've done this all my life, but I've never become that to that extent whereby I enjoy losing. That's the degenerate gambler. They seem to like it better when they lose. But I never got that. I've seen it up close when I was 12 years old, so I thought that's ridiculous. What a chaotic way to live. So it was a very valuable lesson at an impressionable age, actually, And if you think about it, my dad was quite enlightened there. But I'm sure it was by accident. He just wanted me off his back, pouncing money off him all the time. Look, why don't I get you a job? He was all, get a paper round. Get a paper route, as you call them. And I only did that once. I did it for 1 week. This guy I knew that went on holiday. And I couldn't believe how heavy they were. I was a paper boy for a week. Never again. So bookies runner. It was a mitzvah.
The pound notes are lighter than big fat ass
flying
newspapers.
Out of my pockets. I never had so many friends. My Medician largesse became ever more extravagant with every passing day. Hey, this guy's paying out. How you doing, Johnny? Daddy Warbucks over here.
He's flesh. So what? You're on the ass end of this tour.
Yeah, the ass end.
What have you observed about America in these cities you've gone to?
Well, I can't. I'm not allowed to drive, so I'm really confined to the environs of whatever hotel I'm staying in. But luckily, the hotels have all been quite central. Apart from we didn't really stay in Chicago, but we stayed in this delightful collegiate kind of enclave, Evanston. You heard of that place?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful, mature trees, very arboreal altogether.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then right on the edge of the Great Lake, Lake Michigan, with beaches on it even.
Yeah, and,
Fabulous. So I would have never seen that place.
Okay.
But that's kind of, but you know, you never have long enough. I would have liked to have paid a visit to the, like I say, you know, I'm very impressed by buildings. And I was anxious to see the Prairie House, you know, the first.
Frank Lloyd Wright?
Yeah. That's in Chicago, around Chicago, isn't it, somewhere?
Yeah, I think so.
He was a Chicago guy, right?
Yeah, he was suburban Chicago. So was Hemingway.
Yeah. It's a great town. It's a toddling town.
What other places stood out? Like you're going to Portland next.
They've all got somewhere. Portland, Oregon. You know, it's all psychogeography to me. That's where Johnny Ray is from, Oregon.
Johnny Ray was from Oregon? You're kidding.
Yeah. Farm boy.
Wow.
Yeah, Johnny Ray.
Poor old Johnny Ray. So what other
And here, just every time you turn a corner.
You told me people like you're getting a lot of compliments in Hollywood. Like, oh, I like your outfit.
Yeah, that's right. People are very forthcoming with their opinions, and touch wood, all their opinions are very encouraging so far.
Well, you see, the people
But
people don't
do that in
like
England.
for all the the glamour
British
behind L.A. You don't see for all the glamour associated with Los Angeles. You don't see too many well-dressed people. A lot of people in the States are just, T-shirt casual.
Oh, absolutely. Same in England. It's worldwide. Yeah, people have loosened up beyond belief when it comes to clothes.
How can we get people to start dressing up again?
That would be great. But I mean, pop groups now look like somebody's road crew.
Yeah.
No disrespect to road crew. They dress accordingly.
No, I mean, look at a lot of comedians. They look like they're about to go cut the grass.
Shuffling about in loose clothes. Yeah. Everything's on a loop, though. I never give up. I have faith that sartorial standards will one day return.
How do you think the worldwide literacy rate is going?
Can it last? Now, that is depressing. The end of literacy is a terrifying concept, but is it really?
I don't know. Like you ever, I know you're not I know you're a Luddite, but like TikTok, you look at TikTok, these videos are so quick.
Yeah.
I look at TikTok and go, oh my God, they're never going to read books again.
That's terrible. But I'm not a Luddite. I am when I hear stories like that, obviously. It's got its downside, and that's one of them. But I'm not a Luddite. I must have told you before, Tom, the reason I ain't got any of this digital shit is because I know how great it is. And, I've never got over the TV.
Yeah.
I've never got over 1959 when I got a TV. Since then, it's an imposition to tear myself away from it. There's always something going on. Even when we only had 2 channels, it was always on. Square Eyes Clarke. Yeah, absolutely. I've never got over the miracle of television. So, introducing other distractions, it's just you're trying to kill me. If I had a computer, I would. It's that or life. You would find me under a pile of pizza boxes. 6 weeks later, dead, in front of an empty screen. I know how great they are. I know how fabulous it all is. But if I had a pocket phone, I know too many people. It's just as simple as that. You don't get to be my age without knowing really too many people. Let's face it. Give it a name. Too many people.
Well, I always loved it. The only way I can get a hold of you is like through letters. And when
I love that.
Yeah,
I love getting your letters, Tommy. It's a civilized way.
So, I love that the way we communicate is through letters.
It's terrific,
and like I don't call you. I don't send you an email.
You can call me whenever you like, Tom.
But I get in touch with you through your manager, Phil.
You can call me whenever. I'll give you my number.
Okay.
Call me whenever you like. There was a great thing there's a guy called, a humorist in England called Craig Brown. He writes for the Daily Mail and the Private Eye. But he's a very, very funny guy. He did that one, the latest book about the Beatles trivia. You think you know it all about the Beatles until you read this book. It's the real human side of the Beatles.
Yeah.
But he's also got a good eye for a humorous situation. Very, very funny writer. Craig Brown. And why have we brought him into it now?
What about something about the Beatles?
No, before that, what we said about... Oh, yeah, no, phones.
Yeah.
Phones. He wrote this whole thing. It was like an advert for a house phone. As if they'd just invented the house phone. At last, you don't have to carry your phone around.
That's hilarious.
Thanks to this, every home must have one. You can have one mounted on the wall, or simply on a flat surface. And there's even a machine you can have that will take messages while you're out. At last you don't have to lug that phone around.
The house phone was great.
They're selling it as a labour-saving device, so very convincing. I'm not doing it justice. It was, the must-have labour-saving device. He's a very funny writer. I can't recommend that book about the Beatles.
What's it called?
I think it's called Yeah.
I know I told you this before. I invented this game whenever
No, 8 days a week.
I think I have that. I don't think I read it, but I know
Craig
I have that.
Brown. It's one of their titles, or
Whenever I meet like a super Beatles fan, I know I asked you this question. So I always ask him, if you were in a plane crash with the Beatles in their prime in the Andes, and you had to eat the Beatles to survive, which one would you eat first, and which one would you eat last?
It's a very intelligent question. one I've never given much thought. One that I've never given much thought, but my quick answer would be this. There wouldn't be much meat on George. Right, but the other option, I think Mecca. I'm sorry. I think Paul, he was a bit sort of, I'm not going to say, I don't know, there's more meat on him than there is on George anyway. And for a fact, he's a vegetarian.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think.
So that's important.
Well,
you can't eat animals that eat animals. That's
I used to think I would eat John Lennon last, but the more I've learned about the man, to be his friend, he probably would have been kind of an asshole. So I think I would eat John Lennon first, Paul second. I'd eat George third. I'd keep George around because he was the most spiritual. I think he'd be a calming presence in the after.
You've given it more thought than I have here.
The after trauma of a plane crash.
I didn't do the psycho profile. Before I was thinking entirely gastronomically.
Yeah, but I would eat. That's hilarious. You're thinking flavor. I'm thinking of companionship.
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking of
hilarious.
subcutaneous fat distribution. The fact that he is an habitual plant eater.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Every major religion in the world doesn't eat an animal that eats meat. It's not kosher or anything.
Yeah.
You can't eat an animal that eats animals. Check it out. We don't eat cats
Yeah.
because they eat meat.
I never thought about that.
The only animal that we eat that eats animals, really, is fish. Funny that, isn't it? And
Well, I heard that
it's
cold-blooded animals like fish and snakes don't dream. They don't have dreams.
have they proven this? How
I
do
don't
you
know.
prove
Yeah,
that?
and they're like warm-blooded animals, like cows and us.
How do they know that?
I don't know.
That's impossible.
Yeah,
So no, surely I don't dream. I only have.
that's why
nightmares.
lizards
I only
always
have
look
bad
so
dreams.
sad. They don't have any hope for them. They have no dreams.
Well, they're always on the alert, aren't they? They're very quick to wake up.
Yeah,
If you cast a shadow. I got a tortoise that they're very pervious to sudden changes of temperature.
lizards.
All reptiles. I got this turtle, and you can put a heap of lettuce down in the garden, but if you cast a shadow over it, they're like solar powered. If you cast a shadow over it, it won't eat it. It won't have enough energy to eat that lettuce. I've seen this happen. I put it to the test. I've tested it to destruction. And then when you step out of the way and remove your shadow, give it a couple of seconds and it's up to the right. It's getting
mauling the lettuce.
And then it's munchity, munch.
What's your turtle's name?
Michelle. Get it? Shell. Because my daughter named it. My daughter named it.
Your daughter's awesome.
Michelle. She's always been a bit of a comedian like that.
Okay, so I would eat Ringo last because I think he was the funniest. Which Beatle would you eat last?
Well, blimey, I thought we were just going to pick one of them.
We're eating all of them.
This is getting a bit involved. Hopefully, by the time I've eaten Macca,
then fucking help would have arrived.
help will have arrived.
That's the moment. Like,
Call me a dreamer.
You're holding off. You're not going to do cannibalism, and then like you can't take it anymore. You finally start eating the guy, and then like there's the rescue team.
Yeah.
With the cameras.
Would Mal Evans be around?
Yeah.
And what's his dietary regime? But anyway, I'd eat the chicks first.
Their girlfriends.
Yeah, I'd eat Linda.
Okay.
I would have eaten, Linda. Because she's a vegetarian and she's a pretty girl.
That's good. Yeah.
Always lived a quiet life. Stress-free. Apparently it shows in the meat. The stress.
Paul McCartney just went to he goes to the Improv here sometimes, the comedy club.
Paul?
Yeah. He was there
he's got many a story.
It was all over social media.
He's a very amusing raconteur, Macca. Yeah. He's a great Beatle. Fabulous, great musician, terrific lyricist. Everything you could.
Have you ever got to have a chin wag with him?
I have for a minute or two. Yes, yeah, fantastic. I couldn't let it was me, Alex Turner, and Macca. The last time I think it's on the last issue of the NME, the New Musical Express, when you had to pay before it was a giveaway item, and now it's an online presence. But I think it was the last one, paper copy or something. So it was me, Alex Turner, and Macca on the cover. Very nice of them.
What'd you talk about?
And I was flabbergasted. I'm sure I said nothing But we kind of we had our hands on each other's shoulder. I couldn't believe it. You know. Okay, you can let leave, you can let go now. No, I can't. He's a Beatle. No, I can't let go of him. He's a Beatle. He belongs to me.
Have you ever met anybody that made you feel starstruck?
I've met many times. I've met Stella and Mary, his delightful offspring, though. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
Have you ever felt starstruck by someone? Because I told you
all
that
the
I
time.
opened for
I'm a
James
fan.
Brown years ago, and
I'm a fan. You know, just because, I mean, you know, what am I anyway? A couple of, you know. But I'm a fan, you know, I always have been.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed by people that are more successful than I. Oh, you know, just, of course, you know, even if even if I don't like what they do, you can't knock success. You know, so, no, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I have my preferences, obviously, you know, and people, you know, I can't believe I know them, you know, really incredible. I'm a fan, you know, honestly, all the way. I'm impressed by, yeah, the star.
Well, you got so many cool
the
people
star
that love
system,
you.
The star system, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it, you know, very, very easily impressed.
Well,
but you know what? Well, take one. David Johansen, for instance. You
love
know,
him.
to know somebody like that a little bit is obviously I can't believe it.
You know, he's got a radio
believe
show
I
on
know
Sirius XM.
people of that magnitude.
Yeah,
you
he
know,
plays music. You'd love it. And it's
who's that?
Dave Johansen.
Yeah, he does.
And it's like the stuff you used to
if
do for the
ever there was
BBC,
a
where he'll tell
polymath.
stories about songs, why he loves them,
Oh,
what's
he's
important
great.
about it.
He's a great raconteur.
Yeah.
That whole Buster Poindexter persona that he
Hot.
was just. He's got many strands.
Yeah.
You know, he's a very knowledgeable guy. Very, you know, the history of American popular culture lives inside of him instinctively. You know, and always has. Remarkable artist. And what about the Harry Smith? Did you ever hear that album? Harry Smith was one of these like Paul Oliver. What's his name? Paul Oliver, is it?
I don't know who that is.
The guy that recorded all the Alan Lomax.
Oh, yeah. All
You know,
the
he
field
was one of
recordings.
those. Yeah, he was one of those
for the
kind
Library
of
of
guys,
Congress.
I think. Yeah, one of those kind of guys, Alan Lomax type. Harry Smith, and he compiled records for all the big hitters of the country blues era, you know, Blind Lemon Jefferson and people like this.
Yeah.
And, and he did a whole load of covers of country stuff like that, you know, acoustic, you know, playing on it. You know, and a very convincing delivery. Fabulous. The one I always remember is Old Blue. Old Blue's a good old dog. It's one of them, you know, his top dog up and dies.
Then, yeah.
You know, it's one of them heartbreaking dead dog.
Those dead dog songs get him every time.
They get me every time. Oh shit, fucking hell. I defy you to listen to that without bursting into tears. Anybody who loves dogs, you know, oh shit, man. Huh? You kidding? It saves his life. Then goes and dies.
Damn it.
Mr. Bojangles, dog up and die, dog up and die. That hits everybody where they live. Any song where a dog dies. Old Yeller. That being the main one.
Yeah.
Old Yeller. But yeah, dead dog songs. You can't, yeah. Fucking.
If you want to make some money.
Heartbreaking. Fucking don't know the meaning of the word heartbreak
Till you lose your dog.
Till you lose your dog.
How do you feel about your upcoming Palladium gig?
Oh, that's great. It's great the way we're selling that joint out. time
great.
after time. It's sensational.
And that was, of course, the London Palladium,
The London
where
Palladium, Holmes.
Lenny Bruce had the famous bit
That's
about.
it. Underline that word. Yeah, Lenny Bruce used that because that theatre, because he knew that no matter where he was, from Boise, Idaho, to Miami Beach and back again, even all over the world, you mention that joint, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The London Palladium. That's where the Queen of England has the Royal Command performance. Should see the people that have played there. Danny Kaye, Bob Hope, probably Sinatra, probably.
Yeah.
Nat King Cole, Crosby.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, what a list.
Are you excited about? When is it?
Well, I'm always excited about playing that joint.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When's the gig?
Yeah. I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you.
JohnCooperClarke.com.
But look out, keep watching the skies.
Hey, John, I got to go. I love you so
You
much.
have to.
I got to go pick my
if
mom
I've kept
up.
you too long, I'm really sorry.
No, I love you, man. It's
I hate it.
it's
I
always
go off
it's a blessing and a thrill to spend
Well,
every
thanks a
second
lot.
with you. I love and
Are
adore
you going to edit this?
Probably not.
Oh, go on.
A
There's
little
some
bit,
bits
sure, a
where
little.
I'm rambling.
I got to go pick
going
my
off
mom up
piece.
from the
I
airport.
know you do.
Do you have any messages for my mom?
Well, it's a privilege to know your boy, Mrs. Rhodes. He's a wonderful human being, and your work here has not been in vain.
That's beautiful. John, thanks for asking me to open for your show, man, at the Terragram Ballroom the other night. And it's just great to spend this time with you.
What a pleasure. I
Yeah.
pitied a fool that wasn't there, man.
Yeah.
You know, what a lineup.
Amen. I love you, and I hope to see you soon, my brother.
We'll do that.
Long may you run.
Adios.
And hooray for humanity.